Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a bit of a disaster for Alba. It's become the second independence party to be embroiled in a police investigation into their finances. So the Alba Party, they're Scotland's pro-independence outfit founded by the late Salmond, is under scrutiny as Police Scotland investigate allegations of financial and administrative irregularities within the organisation. The probe, which began in May 2024, has sparked a political firestorm, compounded by the dramatic defection of Alba's sole MSP, Ash Regan, and internal disputes following Salmond's death in October 2024. With the 2026 Holyrood elections looming, the scandal threatens to further destabilise the already embattled party. Now, the investigation was triggered by a formal complaint lodged by Alba's leadership in May 26, 2025, following an internal review initiated by Salmond before his sudden death. Reports suggest the probe centres on spending in excess of £50,000, with concerns about unauthorised expenditures and blurred lines between party operations and private ventures. The Scottish Sun reported leaked emails in which Salmond himself had flagged up issues about private media operations for commercial profit, overlapping with party finances, prompting him to briefly consider resigning as a convener of Alba's Finance Audit Committee. The Police Scotland confirmed that we received a complaint from Alba Party in relation to irregularities within their finances. The investigation into this matter is ongoing. No charges have been filed and details remain scarce due to the live nature of the probe. Adding to the scrutiny, Alba missed 2 deadlines for submitting its 2024 audited accounts to the Electoral Commission, with an extended September 2025 deadline also unmet. The Commission has warned of potential enforcement action, raising questions about the party's financial transparency. Now, the internal strife and Chris McElhenny's role. The investigation coincides with the controversial dismissal of former General Secretary Chris McElhenny in the spring of 2025 for alleged gross misconduct. McElhenny, a former SNP MP candidate and a key Salmond ally, has denied any wrongdoings and claims he has not been contacted by police. A source close to him told the BBC, Chris is completely content that the finances under the leadership of Alex Salmond were both sound and compliant. McElhenny is now pursuing an employment tribunal for unfair dismissal and is considering a defamation lawsuit against Alba for statements linking him to the irregularities. He's publicly offered to have the party's finances from his tenure published to clear his name. The timing of McElhenny's exit and the probe has fuelled speculation, though Alba insists the review covers periods before and after his tenure. Current leader Kenny McCaskill, who chaired the Finance Committee during McElhenny's time, has defended the party's actions, stating to the Scotsman, "Things have come to light that causes great concern, and we have made reports to authorities to fulfil our legal and fiduciary duties." An Alba spokesperson emphasised that the review was a legitimate response to concerns raised by Salmond himself, rejecting broader claims of mismanagement. I'll come to my own opinions. There's a couple of paragraphs left to read, but I still think it's just a bit weird, and I'll explain why I feel that in a minute. The financial probe has been overshadowed by a high-profile exit of Ash Regan, Alba's only MSP, who announced her departure on October the 14th to sit as an independent for Edinburgh Eastern. Regan, who defected from the SNP to Alba in 2023, cited fundamental differences with the party's direction under McCaskill, whom she'd lost in March 2025 leadership contest by a 2-1 member vote. Sources close to Regan suggest she grew frustrated with Alba's internal dysfunction, including the handling of the financial review and what she saw as a lack of strategic focus and independence. Reagan, a vocal advocate for women's rights and a critic of SNP's gender policies, has been a prominent figure in Alba's push to challenge the SNP's dominance and independence movement. Her defection leaves Alba without a parliamentary rep, a blow to its visibility and credibility. In a statement, Reagan said, "I remain committed to independence, but I believe I can serve my constituents and the cause as better as an independent voice." Political analysts see her exit as linked to the broader chaos, with Financial Probe amplifying perceptions of a party in disarray. Posts on X reflect pro-independence supporters' disappointment, with some calling her move betrayal, but others sympathising with her frustration. The Probe is a fresh wound for Alba, already struggling since Salmond's death. With no seats in Holyrood and a limited membership, the party has failed to gain the traction against the SNP it desired. The scandal draws parallels to the SNP's own financial woes, with the Scottish Tory MSP Murdo Fraser seizing the moment. Clearly, the SNP aren't the only nationalist party that can't be trusted to manage their own finances. The SNP has remained largely silent, but the timing, amid their own leadership and policy debates, could weaken the broader independence movement. The Electoral Commission's warning over the late accounts adds pressure. Alba's registered address in Greenock and reliance on Salmond's personal network for funding have long raised questions about its financial stability. Behind me is Glasgow Sheriff Court, one of Europe's busiest courts. And because of that fact, we'll see every week several members of the public and podcasters, etc., facing trials in here for a number of things. However, an increasing number are for posts on social media, videos on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. And for that reason and that reason alone, I believe it would make sense for everybody who does podcasts as a minimum to join the Free Speech Union, because they will help protect you when the law turns on you. That doesn't give you carte blanche to say what you want as a member, but it does give you the protection to help you when the law goes wrong. This is not now only something that should be considered by podcasters, because we are seeing more and more people each day arrested. Normal people who don't even see themselves as civilian journalists, arrested for posts on social media. So it makes sense to join the Free Speech Union, because we live in this country in 2025. The party's failure to submit accounts on time, coupled with this police probe, risks alienating donors and members at this critical juncture. Now, there's a bit here about broader implications. Will it affect the independent movement? What's the legal risks? And what will affect being the 2026 elections? Well, as far as the independent movement's concerned, I don't think it'll make any difference to that whatsoever. The legal risks. If the probe uncovers criminality, fraud or embezzlement, charges could follow, and McElhaney's tribunal and potential defamation suit could add complications, while the Electoral Commission fine looms for non-compliance. And I don't know what their accounts are like just now, and obviously they've been late in putting in the latest ones. But with all this stuff hanging over them, it could put them and their financial future at peril. So the police investigation outcome remains uncertain, with no timeline or for its conclusion. But the leadership has pledged full cooperation, but it's limited in commenting due to the probe's sensitivity. Now, what I think is a bit weird is that this whole investigation has been kicked in by the party itself going and saying something's not right here. So it might not be of their own doing. I mean, it could be these problems. It could, at the end of the day, come from one person's criminal activity. It could be the party in a whole's made mistakes. Who knows? But one thing that is certain, if there's any truth to these allegations, and bear in mind it's the party that started this whole thing, so you've got to expect that there's a problem with the money, or they wouldn't have made these complaints themselves, could put this party in jeopardy. Their survival may be at risk here. And that's pretty bonkers. But Alba, to be fair, and listen, I know people in Alba. I've interviewed Ash Reagan, who has just left them. Neil Hanvey, who a guy I like, I've spent a bit of time with Neil, he's involved with Alba. And I believe Alec Neil, the ex-SNP cabinet minister, who I recently interviewed and I've had a lot of conversations with, I believe he's involved with them at some point. So I don't see a future for them, unfortunately. Another thing you got, this your party are making a bit of moves in Scotland, and you would imagine somebody like Tommy Sheridan, who's also involved with Alba, that would maybe be a more natural home for him. Now that they've come out and said that they support Scottish independence, it gives Scottish socialists who want independence another potential home. So I think the result of this is the future of Alba may be in jeopardy here because of financial reasons, and more people may be jumping ship. So who knows? But if you want others to see this video, give it a thumbs up, put your comments below, hit the share button. And if you've not already done so, or if you think you have, please check that you're subscribed, and if not, hit the subscribe button down below. Thank you. But the most important thing of all, unless you're the type of people that want independence in Scotland, but every time you go to a party for some bizarre reason, you end up with financial irregularities, it's very, very odd. So not you, but everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.